I want to share some information that I recently came across. I kind of stumbled upon this because I was trying to find information to put on my Cannibal Lecture channel. And this came across my screen. And I had to do a little research on this, which I'm still doing research on this because this is some quite strange nonsense here. Medical cannibalism and the power of implicit bias. And then it says the prevalence of corpse medicine in early modern history. In other words, they were taking dead bodies and sometimes even living bodies and using it in medicine to heal people. This is some diabolical nonsense, and you'd be surprised at the medical science that many so believe in and trust in, and that's quick to take medication to heal you. That same medicine was made with human flesh. And that is why Planned Parenthood is so important to the politicians. That is why abortion is being pushed really hard. I'm going to read a small portion of this, and then I'm going to put the article on the bottom and you can read for yourself. It says, prepare yourself for a history of Europe that you probably never heard. In the words of historian Richard Shug, for well over 200 years in early modern day Europe, the rich and the poor, the educated and the illiterate, all participated in cannibalism on a more or less routine basis. Pharmaceutical products were commonly created from blood, flesh, fat, and bone. Mummy powder was considered a powerful medicinal substance. In some countries, executioners sold convicts. Check this out. Executioners sold, just like they're doing with aborted fetal cells or aborted baby parts. Executioners sold convicts teeth, skin, hair, and skull, which led some hypochondriacs to complain that their prices were being undercut. This is all very gruesome in modern readers, or better yet, to modern readers. And it seems strange to say the least. So why was corpse medicine so pervasive, and what were its moral and ethical limits? Check this out, y'all. I'm just going to read this small part and I'm going to put the link on the bottom and you can read for yourself. When it talked about that powder, and I have another article that's on my WordPress, which you can also read that as well if you go to the WordPress page. But in the barbers, and there's many men that go to the barber, primarily black males, and they get a razor cut. The barbers have a little tube with some brown powder in it. For all we know, and what that powder is designed to do is to stop the bleed on a cut. Because he would take that powder, if he get a razor cut, he would take that powder and he would put it on the wound. And it would not only seal up that wound quickly, but it also aids in healing it, the healing process. So the more I read up on this and I watched videos on this, what I heard reminded me of much of what we deal with every day when it comes to medicine. We think because they're scientists or they're pharmaceutical companies that they're mixing up some type of concoction, some chemicals, creating something to help heal mankind. But instead, they're using death to promote life. Because since the human body has the ability to heal itself, they use human remains, body parts, and even drink blood as a form of vitality and as a form of healing. So at some level or another, they've made just about every human being, primarily in this country, a cannibal without even realizing it. And I'm going to read this small part right here. The rise of corpse medicine. As Shug points out, there were very few instances of medicinal cannibalism before the 15th century, but shortly after, physicians started seeking remedies to human ailments within our human bodies. The 16th century German-Swiss physician argued that it was beneficial to drink fresh blood because it contains vitality. Human flesh was typically prepared as a powder, and it was considered useful for bruising, bleeding, inflammation, fever, or diarrhea. Powdered skull was used to combat epilepsy and other head-oriented afflictions. In other words, pieces of the human body were used to cure a wide range of ailments. This is a movie that was out, and I spoke on this in the past, Serpent and the Rainbow, if I'm not mistaken. And they were talking about, they showed like where these white Americans or these physicians went to Haiti. And they were seeking out this voodoo priest that had this powder that was able to cause the dead to come back alive. And they call it zombie, I think it was called a zombitol. But what they did was they got the powder, they came back to the United States, and they created this drug, and they called it zombitol, which was supposed to aid. And this white man was telling this Haitian dude, he said, do you realize how many lives can be saved with that powder? And this dude went to hell and high waters to get that powder. Check out that movie, Serpent and the Rainbow. I don't know if you can still see it on Netflix or Apple TV or even YouTube, but it's called Serpent and the Rainbow. Go check that movie out. See, so we'd be surprised that, and now there's a big issue with the Vaseline. And there's a lot of people that refuse the Vaseline because many of our eyes are open and we're now aware of what's potentially in the Vaseline. And we want no parts of it. So now it's mandated and it's being forced upon people, and we're constantly being told to trust the science. Well, I'm reading to you the science of pharmaceutical companies. So I'm going to put this article on the bottom. This is Jars of Blood. And check it out for yourself. Just read up on this. Read this article. There's links in here that you can follow. But you'd be surprised at the amount of human flesh or human remains. Because many of us on YouTube, we talk about the human trafficking and the what do they call it? Like all of these body body harvesting. You know, they harvesting these flesh. These people coming up missing, and I've had dreams and visions of human bodies just hid in strange places. Right? and it's on my Dream channel. You can check it out. But it's just amazing when you start researching and discovering things. You'd be surprised at what we take in our lives and within our bodies every day and don't realize it. We just become used to it, and then we fight to maintain it. And I would not doubt if that's got a lot to do with the mentality over the ages. Me coming up in the 60s and now in this existence, I've seen the huge change in human thought, human ideals, moral values, or the lack of. I've watched people change. Things that people once were against, they now fight to maintain it, to hold on to it. So, does this have a lot to do with the condition of humans in today's society? The thirst for blood, the thirst to take another human life, the support of abortions, and the number of madness that's going on today. So I'm not going to be long on this. I want you guys to read it for yourself. I'm going to put the link in the bottom. But check out this article and do research on it yourself. And I might do a video later with that audio clip, regarding the Vaseline. Because there's a lot that's going on that we are not aware of. We just trust it. It's like getting in our vehicles driving. Don't take second thought. It's like sitting in a chair. Just walking inside a room that you've never been in. You see a chair, and without thought, you sit down on that chair, trusting that that chair is going to hold you up. So you'd be amazed at what you've taken inside yourself, and that contributes to the way you think, the way you act, and how submissive you become, where you now have no fight in you. You refuse to fight for your rights or what is right, but you've accepted the evil. So feedback, tell me what you think. Until next time.